The scent of pine and cold mountain air was supposed to be my peace, my reward. For my 65th birthday, I had bought this sprawling cabin, my dream retirement nest egg tucked away in the Rockies. I'd paid for everything: the down payment, the new furniture, the fully stocked pantry meant to feed my entire family for the long weekend. Walking back from the hot tub, a towel wrapped around my shoulders, I heard my son-in-law's voice from the open kitchen window. It stopped me dead in my tracks. "We're the ones with kids, so obviously we get the main floor bedroom," Ben was saying. "Your parents can have the loft. Your dad, well, he's just a solitary old man. As far as I'm concerned, he can sleep in the storage closet. More space for the rest of us." I stood there, the chill from the evening air seeping into my bones. A storage closet. Not the cozy bunk room, not the sofa. A closet. For the man who had just sunk his life savings into this place. The sound of my daughter, Chloe's, laughter trickled out, agreeing with him. "He's right, you know, Dad's always been so. Independent. He won't mind. He'll probably just be happy we're all here." Happy wasn't the word boiling inside me. I had worked my hands raw for 40 years as a master carpenter to afford this. I'd built the custom dining table they were leaning against. I'd chosen this place for the main floor bedroom, knowing my knees weren't what they used to be after a lifetime of hard work. And this was their gratitude, to shove me into a closet like a forgotten winter coat. My grip on the towel tightened. I saw my son, Michael, nodding along, a faint smile on his face. My own son. The boy I taught to swing a hammer, the man I helped through his business failure. He was just going along with it. "Adaptable," Ben said, as if reading my mind. "Your dad is nothing if not adaptable." They were talking about my grief. They were calling my quiet strength after losing my wife of 40 years being adaptable. They were dismissing the deep, hollow ache of eating dinner alone every night as independence. I had arrived a day early to make this perfect. I'd filled the fridge with Ben's favorite steaks and Chloe's expensive sparkling water. I'd split and stacked enough firewood to last the week. All for this. A slow, cold smile spread across my face. It wasn't a smile of happiness. It was the smile of a man who had just decided to stop being adaptable. Ben wanted to play king of the castle. He was about to find out who really held the deed. I slipped inside through the side entrance, my socks silent on the hardwood floors I had sanded and finished myself. The cabin was magnificent: high wooden beams, a stone fireplace, the warm glow of amber lighting. It was my masterpiece, and my family was treating it like their personal trophy. I could hear Ben's parents, Arthur and Gloria, already unpacking in the loft, their voices full of warm appreciation. "Arthur, look at this quilt work. Stunning," Gloria said. They seemed like decent people. It made their son's arrogance even more baffling. I went straight to my old leather duffel bag and pulled out a thick manila envelope. Inside was every single document related to this cabin. The deed, the insurance, the utility contracts, all in the name of Frank Miller, all paid for with Frank Miller's sweat and tears. "Ben, can you bring up the kids' bags? I want to get them settled in our room," Chloe called from the top of the stairs. Our room. The one with the private bathroom and the view of the peak. I'd noticed the shift over the past 2 years. The conversations that happened without me. The family decisions I was just informed about. The way Michael had started talking to me in that slow, careful tone, as if I might break or forget my own name. They saw my retirement not as an achievement, but as a decline. But tonight, the decline was over. Footsteps on the stairs. Showtime. "Dad, there you are," Michael appeared, clapping me on the back with a force that felt more performative than affectionate. "We were wondering where you'd wandered off to." "Just admiring the view," I said, my voice even. "The stars are bright tonight." Arthur and Gloria came down, their faces kind. "Frank, this place is extraordinary," Arthur said, shaking my hand firmly. "You've built yourself a paradise. We're so grateful you invited us." Before I could answer, Ben descended the stairs like he owned them. "Frank, you've really outdone yourself. This is quite the setup you've got here." He never called me Dad, always Frank. It was a small thing, but it said everything. "Glad you like it," I replied. "I thought it would be good for us all to be together." "Absolutely," Ben said. his arms snaking around Chloe's waist. "We've got it all sorted. We're in the master, the kids are in the second bedroom, and Arthur and Gloria are lovely and cozy in the loft." Arthur's friendly face crinkled in confusion. "But Frank, where will you be sleeping?" Ben answered for me, his voice smooth as ice. "Oh, Frank insisted he'd take the little storage nook off the mudroom. Said he likes the quiet." The lie was so bold, so effortless that Gloria actually flinched. "The storage nook, Ben, that's where you keep the skis." "Really, it's fine," I said, my smile never wavering. I saw the flicker of panic in Ben's eyes. He hadn't expected his parents to question him. "Dad, you shouldn't be in a closet," Michael said, finally showing a glimmer of the son I remembered. "It's my choice, Michael," I said, locking eyes with Ben. "I'm just happy to have my family under one roof." The dinner that followed was a spectacle. Ben held court at the head of the table I built, serving the food I paid for, acting the part of the generous host. "A toast," Ben announced, raising a glass of my expensive whiskey. "To family, and to this incredible getaway that Chloe and I were so happy to organize for Frank." The audacity stole the air from the room. Arthur slowly lowered his glass. "Ben's son. Frank bought this cabin, he invited us. He paid for everything." Chloe jumped in, her voice tight. "Of course, Dad helped, but we've been planning the details for weeks." Gloria was staring at her son, her expression a mixture of disbelief and dawning horror. "Ben, you told us 3 days ago that Frank had surprised us with an invitation." The cracks were showing. I excused myself to the kitchen, not for more food, but to watch the beautiful chaos unfold. I heard Arthur's voice, low and firm. "Ben, we will not sit here and let you steal credit from a good man's generosity." When I returned, the table was silent. The truth was a third guest, sitting right there between us. The next morning, I was up before the sun, splitting more wood on the stump out back. The rhythmic thwack of the axe was my therapy. Arthur joined me, a cup of coffee in his hand. "Frank, Gloria and I are moving to a hotel. You will take the loft." "That's not necessary, Arthur." "It is necessary," he said, his voice firm. "What my son is doing is wrong. We won't be a part of it." By 9 a.m., the first of my surprises arrived. A massive ATV rumbled up the driveway, towing a trailer filled with whitewater rafting gear. Then a van from the most exclusive mountain guide service in the state pulled in. "Dad," Michael asked, staring, "what's all this?" "My birthday adventure," I said, a genuine grin on my face. "I thought we should make some real memories." Then the second vehicle arrived, a sleek sedan. Out stepped my financial advisor, Ms. Evelyn Reed, looking sharp and professional with a leather-bound portfolio in her hand. "Mr. Miller," she said, shaking my hand. "The property looks even better than the photos." Ben emerged onto the porch, his face pale. "Frank, who is this?" "This is Ms. Reed," I announced. "She helps me manage my affairs, and she's here to clarify a few things about property ownership." But the third surprise was the one that changed everything. A large truck from the local storage facility was rolling up the gravel drive. "You can't be serious," Chloe whispered, watching two men head for the door. "Oh, I am," I said, leaning against the porch rail. "Ms. Reed, the floor is yours." Evelyn opened her portfolio. "Mr. Miller is the sole owner of this property. His name is on the deed, the tax records, everything. When guests attempt to misrepresent their status or make demands contrary to the owner's wishes, it creates a tenuous situation." "Tenuous?" Gloria gasped, looking from Evelyn to her son. Ben sputtered. "Frank, this is crazy. We're family." "Are we?" I asked, my voice quiet but cutting through the mountain air. "Because family doesn't relegate family to storage closets." Arthur's face was a thundercloud. "Ben, did you tell us Frank wanted to sleep in the mudroom?" "Dad, it's a misunderstanding. Frank's been confused lately. I was just trying to manage the situation." "Manage what?" Gloria's voice was sharp. "Frank seems perfectly clear to me. What were you managing, Ben? His money, his property." Evelyn produced a document. "Perhaps this will help. The total investment in this property and this weekend exceeds $600,000. The number landed like a physical blow. Arthur staggered back. 600? Ben, did you know about this? It wasn't supposed to be that much because you weren't paying for it, Gloria said, the final piece clicking into place. You were pretending it was yours. Ben looked cornered. Frank, please, the closet thing was a joke, a bad joke. I just looked at him. It didn't sound like a joke when you said a solitary old man belonged there. The silence was absolute. You could hear the pine needles rustling in the wind. Evelyn cleared her throat. I've taken the liberty of booking a room for Ben, Chloe, and the children at the Moose Creek Lodge. It's rustic. I'm sure you'll find it humbling. Chloe looked horrified. The Moose Creek, that's a motor lodge. At your age, I said sweetly, I thought you might appreciate getting back to basics. Gloria was staring at her son as if seeing a stranger. Ben, what has happened to you? Michael finally found his voice. Ben, where has all the money gone? The money Mom left me, the money Dad gave us for the investment. With what money? I asked gently. Michael, you and Ben have received over $150,000 from me in the last 2 years. Where is it? Arthur sat down heavily on the porch steps. 150,000. I want my son back, I said, my voice cracking for the first time. Not the man who lets his brother-in-law treat his father like a nuisance. Arthur nodded, his eyes full of a father's profound disappointment. That's entirely reasonable, Frank. The motor lodge called an hour later. Ben and Chloe had arrived, complained about the shared bathroom and the lack of room service, and their credit card had been declined for the incidental deposit. I was sitting on the porch with Arthur and Gloria, who had refused to leave my side. Mr. Miller, the manager said over the phone, your family is creating a disturbance. They're asking you to cover a suite upgrade. Absolutely not, I said calmly. They are responsible for their own choices. After I hung up, Gloria had tears in her eyes. Frank, I am so sorry. We raised him better than this. You did, I said. I know good people when I see them. You are good people. Your son made his own choices. Arthur was staring out at the mountains. We never taught him to be this entitled, to be this cruel. Evelyn had stayed to help sort through the mess. Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell, she said gently, there's more you should know. We've been looking into some financial irregularities. Gloria looked stricken. Irregularities. Over the past 2 years, Evelyn explained, substantial funds were transferred to Ben, supposedly for business investments and home repairs. But the money trail is murky. I took a deep breath. Arthur, Gloria, I said. I started noticing that no matter how much I gave, they always needed more. Evelyn began tracing where it was actually going. My phone rang. It was Michael. I could hear Chloe crying in the background. Dad, we can't stay here. Our cards are maxed out. We have no cash. We need help. Then perhaps, I said, my voice steady, you should have thought about that before you tried to shove me in a closet. Arthur took the phone. Michael, you and Ben need to come back here. Now, there's going to be an honest conversation and you will be part of it. When they returned, they found Arthur, Gloria, Evelyn, and me, a united front. Ben looked defeated. Chloe was silently crying. Mom, Dad, Ben pleaded, you're siding with him against your own son. We're siding with the truth, Arthur said, his voice like iron. Frank has shown us nothing but generosity. You've repaid him with deceit. Michael looked lost. What deceit, Ben? You said Dad was confused. You said he was giving us money because he couldn't manage it. Evelyn spoke softly. Michael, based on our investigation, a significant portion of the funds were used for luxury vacations, a car lease, and payments on Ben's pre-existing business debts. Pre-existing debts? Arthur asked sharply. I decided they deserved the whole truth. Ben came into this marriage with substantial liabilities from a failed venture. He's been using my assistance to Michael to pay them down. Gloria buried her face in her hands. Oh, Frank, what has he done? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Mr. Miller, I'm Ben's former business partner, Leo. I have information about his financial history. He's done this before. I showed the phone to Evelyn, who nodded grimly. Leo Martinez. He's been trying to contact you. Ben had a restraining order against him. Claiming harassment, we now believe it was to silence him. Ben saw us looking at the phone and his composure shattered. Whatever he told you is a lie. He's bitter. Are you? I asked quietly. Or are you just the latest person he's fooled? The doorbell rang. A man I'd never seen before stood there, looking weary but determined. Leo Martinez. Mr. Miller, he said, thank you for seeing me. Ben has been intercepting my letters and emails for a year. Arthur and Gloria stood, shocked. Leo, Arthur said. Ben told us you embezzled from the company and vanished. That's what he told everyone, Leo said, his voice heavy. The truth is, Ben drained our business accounts, left me with the debt, and disappeared. I've been trying to warn people ever since. Ben was backing away. He's lying, he's unstable. We have bank records, Ben, Leo said, pulling a thick file from his bag. We have everything. You didn't just take from Mr. Miller. You took from your own parents' retirement fund to start that venture, didn't you? The color drained from Arthur's face. Our fund, the one you said was performing poorly. Gloria stared at her son, her hand over her mouth. You told us to let you manage it, that you could get a better return. It was all a lie, Leo said, his voice filled with a tired sadness. He's a con man, a very good one. He studies people, finds what they love, and uses it against them. Michael was staring at Ben, the last of his illusions crumbling. You targeted my family. You saw a grieving man with some savings and a son who trusted you, and you saw a mark. Ben had no answer. The evidence was overwhelming. The lies had run out. Ben, Arthur said, his voice trembling with a fury I'd never heard. You will leave this property now. You have disgraced this family, you have stolen from a good man, and you have betrayed your own wife and brother-in-law. I am ashamed of you. The words were final. Ben looked at Chloe, at his parents, at me. He had nothing left. As he walked to his car alone, Chloe broke down, sobbing in Michael's arms. The family he had tried to manipulate and divide was now united against him. He was finally, completely alone. Later, we sat in the great room, the fire crackling. Michael, Chloe, Arthur, Gloria, and me. Leo had provided all the documentation we needed for the police. How did I not see it? Michael asked for the 10th time. Because he was your friend, Arthur said, his arm around his weeping daughter. He exploited that. He exploited all of us. Gloria looked at me, her eyes red-rimmed. Frank, how can we ever make this right? You already are, I said. By being here, by choosing to face this, that's what family does. The police came the next day. Ben was arrested at a gas station 2 towns over, trying to use a credit card in my name. The investigation revealed a pattern of fraud spanning years. 3 months later, the cabin felt different. It was filled with peace. Michael was living with me temporarily, helping me with projects, and we were talking, really talking for the first time in years. Arthur and Gloria visited every weekend, bringing groceries and a sense of normalcy we were all learning to rebuild. I received a letter from the district attorney. Ben had pleaded guilty to multiple counts of fraud and identity theft. He was going away for a long time, and a restitution order was in place. Good, Michael said, reading the letter over my shoulder. It's over. Not over, I corrected. Healing. He nodded. Dad, I'm sorry for everything, for not seeing it, for not protecting you. You were protecting your family, I said. That's what I taught you to do, he just twisted it. What matters is that you see clearly now. Michael showed me a business plan he'd been working on, a service to help seniors secure their assets and avoid financial predators. A local community center wanted him to run workshops. It's perfect, I said, feeling a swell of pride. You're going to help so many people. I wanted your blessing, he said. It would mean some travel. Michael, I laughed. I'm 65, not helpless. I think I can manage this old cabin on my own for a few days. He finally smiled, the old, easy smile I remembered. Right, the solitary old man can handle anything. The door opened, and Arthur and Gloria came in, their arms full of groceries and their faces full of light. "Sunday dinner delivery," Gloria announced. "We hope you don't mind us crashing again." "You're never crashing," I said. "You're family." As we cooked together, the smell of roasting herbs filling the cabin, I looked around. At my son, finding his strength. At the good people who had become my chosen family. At the home I had built with my own hands, now filled with the love and respect it deserved. Ben had tried to reduce me to a man who belonged in a closet. Instead, he reminded me that I was Frank Miller. A man strong enough to build his own family, and wise enough to know the difference between love and a lie. We raised our glasses as the last light of the sun hit the mountain peak. "To new beginnings," Michael said. "To honest conversations," Arthur added. "To families that choose each other," Gloria finished. We clinked our glasses together, the sound ringing through the warm, wooden room. Ben had called me a solitary old man. But sitting there, surrounded by the people who had fought for me and I for them, I knew exactly who I was. And I had never been less alone.